All right, Miles, a team we've talked about a lot this season is the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is traditionally a very well-run franchise, but this season, unfortunately, hasn't lived up to their standards. Looks like they're going to be outside the playoff picture this year unless they have a massive turnaround towards the end of the season. But there are some good news and some good indicators for the Steelers team going forward with some of their young players. I know you have the specifics on some of that, but before I hand it over to you, Miles, Steelers fans, we want to hear from you in the comment section below. It's getting to be that time of the year again. It's award season. Who's going to win these big awards? And right now, we're talking about Rookie of the Year. We want to hear from you in the comment section. Give us your rookies of the year, the picks of the guys you think will win those awards. We want to hear from you. But Miles, what do you have out of Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Nick, obviously we're talking Pittsburgh, and the guy on their team that I think has a fair shake or, a potential chance to win the Offensive Rookie of the Year award has been young quarterback Kenny Pickett. Obviously, he's been playing for a lot of the year so far. He's done relatively well, I'll say. Uh, this is a rough average. This is not exact, but I'd say he averaged around a 64 to 66 PFF grade through most of the games this season. But this past week against Indy, Nick, he graded out at a career high 88 PFF grade. Huge jump for him. It's almost like, he's making the jump. He is now understanding. He played a really nice game. Obviously, it's against the Colts, who aren't necessarily the best team to play against, but they do have some nice players on that Colts team. So
it's a good defense, right? I mean,
yeah,
their offense is the problem. So
no, for sure, it's a commendable performance, and I just think the game might be like, as they say, the old adage, the game's slowing down for him. He's able to make his reads now. He's putting all of the pieces together, whatever kind of phraseology you want to put to it. It's all starting to click for Kenny Pickett, and he's had a really big game. And we had this tweet over from PFF for the Pittsburgh Steelers, Nick, and through this season, this 88.5 PFF grade is the second best by QB in Week 12. It's the best grade for a rookie QB in all of 2022, and this has been the best PFF grade for a Steelers quarterback since Week 10 of 2018. That's been quite a while, Nick. Quite a while.
That's a lot of Big Ben games in there. Wow, that is really something. And I think you talk about his performance and what PFF grades, but when I look at Kenny Pickett, when I saw after the game, it's those extra things. It's the confidence. It's the galvanizing of the offense. I'll read you a quote here. This is from Pittsburgh Steelers center Mason Cole talking about that game-winning touchdown run, Benny Snell. This is what Mason Cole said, and I'm going to quote him here. Quote, "He called the one we scored on. Kenny called that. He said, let's run this. I was all for it because it was a running play. To see the confidence on 3rd and 2 on the goal line, it's big. It's good to see. It's exciting to see. It shows who he is as a leader and the command he has on the field, and it's really cool." So this is one of those things, Miles, like you said, starting to come together. The game's slowing down a little bit. All the leadership, traits we talked about, the moxie, everything like that we talked about going into the pre-draft process and then going into training camp and all that is starting to show itself. It's the command of the offense. It's calling the right plays for the situation to win close games on the road like he did against Indy. It's playing much better overall. I loved how he ran the ball more against Indy, put more of the onus on himself and took care of it, right? He's obviously getting Pickens involved more. He's getting more energy out of this offense. You can tell that Kenny Pickett's taking those big strides. And it's one of those things, if the Steelers here in Kenny Pickett, if he can continue to make these strides and the Steelers are 100% committed that he's their franchise quarterback, I think when you pair him with the young guns they have on offense, Najee Harris, Pickens, Freiermuth, hopefully some upgrades on the offensive line, pair with the elite veteran defense, this is a team that you look forward to 2023 now, could be a real contender in the AFC.
Yeah, Nick, when I take a look at this defense on paper, I think it's just like one or two positions away from being like absolutely elite all around the ball.
Sure.
They have tons and tons of talent there. A lot of really highly graded, very productive players. So the defense is on its way to being exactly where it needs to be. The offense, I think there's a few things that can be done to help it out a little bit. They could do
just one big thing, right?
Yeah. They could do with a little bit better protection for Pickett. They could do with more of like maybe like one more better slot receiver, something along those lines. I think Freiermuth is probably a pretty good serviceable tight end. And obviously the big glaring issue that everyone talks about is play calling. So, that's a story for itself. But my point being, the larger point, let me get to it, is on paper, if Kenny Pickett keeps trending in this upward trajectory like he has been, this looks like a good Pittsburgh Steelers team on paper. And so, if somebody can get into that position and coach this team, call the right plays, do everything, I think that coming into the next season, this is a dangerous team. The AFC North needs to be on notice. This is a Pittsburgh team that can come to play and start making a run for maybe the AFC North title next year, Nick.
Yeah, and I agree with you 100%. But looking a little more short term, the game at Atlanta this weekend, this is going to be a very interesting matchup because the Pittsburgh Steelers went away from Trubisky, went away from their veteran quarterback. The Atlanta Falcons, very notoriously at this point have stuck with Marcus Mariota, and they've turned away from going to their young guy in Desmond Ridder, and there are no signs that Desmond Ridder is going to start with the Falcons. So we're going to see here this weekend, we're going to get an up and close chance to see here how good is Kenny Pickett. Can he win a big game on the road again against a veteran quarterback? And can he prove the Pittsburgh Steelers right by going with him early on, kind of go through the bumps early while the Atlanta Falcons took the opposite approach? It's going to be a very interesting matchup. And at the end of it, we're going to get a big inclination of how far Kenny Pickett is and where he is in his growth process.